Well, let's bring in my guest now on the programme. Marc Roscoe Loustau is a freelance journalist and a cultural anthropologist in Budapest. Thanks very much for joining us on the programme today. What are your first initial reactions and thoughts on hearing the death of Pope Francis?
Well, it really is the loss of a visionary global leader, and I'm sure that the world's Catholics, as well as the entire Christian community all over the world, is mourning the loss of this man who really brought a sense of compassion, a sense of pastoral commitment to the papacy in a way that had not been seen for generations and generations.
I mean, it is one of those world historic moments, isn't it? We've just been hearing, in fact, in the last few moments, that Notre Dame here in Paris has been ringing out its bells, of course, in honour of the Pope.
As really, it is, I think, the most appropriate response, not only to ring out the bells, but really to say prayers of gratitude for his leadership through in a number of issues that really affect the world as a whole. He really, from the beginning of his papacy, portrayed himself as coming from the ends of the earth and representing the ends of the earth, all the marginalized peoples of the world, not just in the Catholic Church, but throughout the world. He really saw himself as a champion of all those who are marginalized and all those who are oppressed.
How do you think he will be remembered then?
But I think he will really be remembered as someone who tried to bring the church into the most pressing global concerns, into conversation about the most pressing global concerns that will really kind of live beyond that will continue to impact future generations and live beyond his particular papacy, his particular time in office. And I'm thinking here of the global environmental catastrophe, the concerns of migration and refugees throughout the world. And then, of course, he was, very clearly involved, as your previous commentator observed, in trying to end aggression against Ukraine and trying to see a way towards peace throughout the world.
What did he mean to people who loved him and supported him and loved the way that he tried to modernize the church?
Thanks. For people who really felt like Pope Francis represented them and who really thrilled to the new style and the new approach that he brought to the papacy, he really brought a very human-centered attitude to everything that he did, from the most central rituals of the papacy in Rome, presiding over liturgical events, calendrical liturgical events of the year, to kind of extraordinary gestures like traveling to, for instance, Mongolia and traveling to some of the most neglected and forgotten corners of the church. He really brought a human-centered, very humble attitude to everything he did. And I'm thinking here of some of the first gestures that he made during during his time in office, for instance, traveling to Lampedusa to meet personally with refugees and to bring them back on his papal plane. Really, that was a striking gesture of being one of the people, being with the people, that many of his supporters thrilled to.
He certainly had his critics, though, didn't he, particularly from the right wing in society?
So at the beginning of his papacy, he really tried to bring together the right and the left in the church. And perhaps this is one of the ways in which his papacy can be seen as at least having a mixed record, if not an outright failure. He really tried to be the Pope of all Catholics, the Pope of both the right and the left. And he expressed a deep pastoral concern for those who objected to some of the ways in which he tried to modernize the church. He tried to stay engaged in conversation with them. And in the end, they were not willing to accompany him. They were not willing to stay in conversation with him. And he sort of let them go with, I think, a sense of sadness and perhaps even a sense of frustration.
So how does the church now go about finding itself a new leader and someone that can unite all those sides together under the big umbrella of the Catholic Church?
That is the question, and it is really unclear to, I think, most church observers, whether they're deep on the inside or kind of outside observers to the whole process. It really is unclear how a new pope is going to try to unite the church in a way that Pope Francis was really unable to do. There are lots of whispers about who could be the next cardinal, or rather who could be the next pope from amongst the College of Cardinals, those who are second in line. And it's really unclear exactly who is going to become the leader of the Universal Church. There are many possible candidates. Much speculation about where the next pope would come from, whether it would come from the African continent, from the Americas, or from Southeast Asia, where the church is growing the fastest. It really is going to be a remarkable set of events coming in Rome for the next conclave.
Good to have you with us on the programme today. Thank you very much, Marc Roscoe Loustau, freelance journalist and cultural anthropologist, joining us there live from Budapest. Well,